Hi, honey, I'm home.
When the movie Full House came into play in 1987, Hollywood's bar was raised higher because it dumbfounded the industry. Fans went wild, and on the streets of America, you could hear people reciting their favorite scenes. But if you ever thought you had seen it all, brace up because you are in for an unforgettable ride. Here are 20 weird facts you didn't know about Full House. Number 1. The friendship of Dave and Sajay can be traced back to 1979.
Okay, this is the scene, San Francisco, a painted San Francisco house. If you ever watched Full House.
True friendship, they say, could last for a long time. And to be honest, Dave and Sajay proved just that. At some point, it was difficult for people actually to differentiate between them and think they weren't siblings. In the most orchestrated manner, aspiring stand-up phenom Dave Coulier met Bob Sajay in 1979. The first conversation set them up for a true friendship, and neither of them knew at the time that it would last forever. 6 months later, an event that would later change the course of the movie industry brought them together. Coulier took Sajay up on his offer to give him a call if he was ever in Los Angeles. It was the best decision he would ever make, as he later said. The irony of this is that when I didn't have an apartment, I slept on Bob's couch, he once told the Huffington Post. Number 2. John Stamos wasn't in support of the Olsen twins from the onset. Oftentimes, in a typical movie set, those who are given the least attention turn out to be the villain, and the movie Full House wasn't an exception. During the shoot, a minor feud almost ruined the atmosphere. One of the special relationships that kept viewers hooked to their screens was that of Uncle Jesse, John Stamos, and his nieces, Michelle, Mary-Kate Olsen, and Ashley Olsen. From how he sang her favorite lullaby songs to some of the most insane talks, he carved a specialty in the movie. But do you know that it wasn't always like that from the outset? It was a different vibe altogether. Behind the scenes, John Stamos didn't immediately feel that spark for the twins, as he was not comfortable working with them. He complained so much that he wanted them to be removed as cast members. The first episode was marked by significant turbulence, as Mary-Kate and Ashley would often cry profusely on set, disrupting the program for the day. He became fed up and requested that the twins be replaced. The producers obliged, but still they couldn't produce the kind of result they needed. So producers brought back the twins, and the rest, they say, is history. Number 3, Paul Reiser actually turned down the role of Danny Tanner.
Get another shot. It's the best. So I took a long time off.
This isn't the first time a popular actor has turned down a movie role, but why did it make headlines? Here is the catch. In the 1980s, Paul Reiser wasn't a regular kind of comedian. He was exceptional and had hit a kind of success at the time, even though it wasn't so big. When Full House was cast, though, he had not yet received his later success in shows like My Two Dads and Mad About You. The pioneer of the show, Jeff Franklin, was good friends with Paul Reiser at the time, so he invited him and offered him the role. He was convinced that Reiser would do a good job and it would go a long way to help the movie's image. But to his greatest dismay, Reiser turned down the role without stating any tangible reason. This came off as a surprise to his longtime friend, but his decision was not going to be altered. Interestingly, Reiser accepted another fatherly role around the same time, raising eyebrows about why he switched almost immediately from his longtime friend. He went on to star as Michael in My Two Dads. He did perfectly well, and viewers couldn't get enough of him. Still, it was shocking that he participated in a sitcom that was not different from the fatherly role he was typically offered. My Two Dads ran for 3 seasons, while Full House ran for 8 seasons. Why he chose to be part of it, no one could tell. That notwithstanding, the series was a success. Maybe he would have made it perfect. Number 4. Spotting the difference between the two twins was not as easy as it seemed.
Our dad's a college professor, and we have a baby.
Nothing can be more tiring on set than unavoidable mistakes, which seem to keep happening with every new scene. The series Full House had some amusing behind-the-scenes confusions that almost got the actors frustrated. It took some extra skill to make a clear difference between two cast members who had roles in several scenes. The twins, Mary-Kate Olsen and Ashley Olsen, were difficult to differentiate, to the point that even fans didn't know who was playing Michelle in the earliest episodes. Even though they weren't identical twins, they just had a way of confusing everyone, including themselves. They had once said they couldn't always tell who was playing the role of Michelle in some episodes. This continued for a while until fans and cast members alike developed a strategy to differentiate them. They were fraternal twins, and so didn't have the same genetic makeup. A little difference was possible. So fans had to use their facial recognition to know who was who. Ashley's freckle is above her lip, while Mary-Kate's freckle is on her right cheek. This took months to assimilate for fans, but mistakes were unavoidable at times during the 8 seasons the series ran. It wasn't a fluke. The twins brought a whole different vibe to the series. Number 5. Unusual phrases actually made it to the final cut, even though not planned.
Okay, I'm done. I'm not going to talk. Okay, fine.
I'll jump in. You know,
In a series like this, anything is possible, and flexibility is non-negotiable when it comes to shooting a particular scene. Have you ever wondered how some of the phrases that have become worldwide sensations came about? Do you know the catchphrases? How rude. Oh, my Lanta, cut it out. Have mercy. You got it, dude. Were actually not meant to be in the final cut, but somehow it plowed through all odds and found its way there. The catchphrases came from the actors themselves. It was something that was not planned, but it changed the entire course of the series. Candace Cameron made a statement that became a worldwide sensation. Here is how she said it. Oh, my Lanta. And this was because the Christian actress was rigid in her faith and never wanted to take God's name in vain, and it stuck well. This was a good start for something new, and Stamos, seeing it, hopped on it without delay. He added, "Have mercy," for the show's first episode, and it suited him perfectly. It was almost as if he had written it for this purpose, and everything went smoothly. Dave, on the other hand, borrowed his catchphrase from an old friend, and it never occurred to anyone that it was borrowed. He coined it from an old friend who had used it during an act, but it was in a different context. Number 6. The title Fuller House from Full House has more than one meaning. It's not unusual to give a one-time meaning to any catchy phrase. Most series can be so confusing that if you didn't know, you might just give it a one-time meaning. Viewers often attribute that the Fuller in Fuller House came from the fact that there was an expansion that happened over the years, which includes more family members. However, contrary to what they thought, it was way beyond that. Although there was indeed an expansion, the name originated from a different perspective. D.J. quote, S last name became Fuller because her deceased husband's name was Tommy Fuller, so it might make sense to follow that convention. Not many remembered that there was a cast member named Fuller who was part of the original series, perhaps because everyone was so immersed in the euphoria of the series that they forgot the names of those who thrilled them continually. Do you also remember that one of the twins' full names included Fuller? Even though they didn't appear in the sequel, it's one of them who has the name. Ashley's full name is Ashley Fuller Olsen. However, we can't take it to heart that coincidence comes into play at some point, and that the name of the show was chosen for the cute play on the original title. The series needs to be given its flowers any day, anytime it shocked the comedy world. Number 7. Uncle Jesse's name was actually changed for a better purpose.
But we're supposed to be a big happy family.
How often do you see cast names changing on a movie set? If so, then you should also know that Full House was no different. Because names usually portray the kind of role an actor plays, something better needed to be felt in the final cut. Before the final series got to the TV screens, Uncle Jesse was given something else away from what he answered. This made sense at first, but after much scrutiny, the name was dropped. Uncle Jesse was referred to as Jesse Cochran early in the show. This was a name he went by because of his pest control business, and for a few episodes he staggered with it. Thankfully, the writers dropped the pest control storyline, and something else was introduced, giving him room for a name change. Jesse was renamed in the process, and it was clear that it was just timely for the show. And just like that, it blew beyond bounds. John Stamos, on the other hand, wanted his name to be changed from Cochran to Kostopoulos to reflect his Greek roots, but contrary to his wishes, something else was chosen. The Greek heritage of Uncle Jesse was reflected fully in the episode of Season 4 called Greek Week, where Uncle Jesse's Greek family came for a timely visit. After the name was changed, viewers got hooked on the new name and never remembered that he had been called Cochran. Number 8. A full house was bought for the show. Great things demand great investment, and Full House was an investment that yielded profits. Sometimes the cost of making one episode of any series can be so demanding that if you don't know how to go about it, you may lose in the long run. The producers considered this and devised a strategy to spend less while still making a profit. However, this approach came at a price. Jeff Franklin pulled all the strings together, went the extra mile, and purchased the original house in San Francisco. It was time-consuming and money-consuming, but in the end it was worth it. This house was the brain behind all the exteriors of the Tanner home, both in Full House and Fuller House. This house helped a great deal as they didn't need to break the bank for each episode, but enjoyed every bit, knowing that their major fears had been conquered. Although the home is sometimes mistaken for one of the Painted Ladies' homes in San Francisco, it has no connection to them. The house is located in the curvy areas of Broderick Street. When the home went up for a price he could afford, he took it without having to mince words. He bought the home for around $4 million, and he has done everything possible to reflect his kind of person with it. Franklin is the real genius. Number 9. Small roles remain inconsequential in the presence of professionalism.
To eat, maybe take a nap, and you'll feel all better. Right.
Do you know that most producers are sometimes so overwhelmed by the presence of professionalism that they change the course of the script immediately? Full House was one of those movie series that came with late-night changes, which also reflected in the entire movie perspective. Kimmy Gibbler, as revered by history, is one of the most outspoken sitcom characters with a loud fashion sense. Her affinity for Uncle Jesse made the difference, but he, on the other hand, didn't give in to her gimmicks cheaply. Andrea Barber, who gave Kimmy the life that she desired, hooked viewers to their screens. However, did you know that the character wasn't originally intended to appear in many episodes? From the original script, she was supposed to appear in one episode, but when the level of professionalism was evident, it evolved into something else. She later became one of the primary stars who also appeared in Fuller House. Similarly, Lori Loughlin was originally hired to portray Rebecca Donaldson in only 6 episodes of Full House. However, when she stepped into the scenes, viewers fell in love with her persona, and her great chemistry with John Stamos and other cast members gave her leverage for many more episodes. She finally made her mark, and producers couldn't help but convert her to a regular cast member. This character became notable in Full House and would later go on to marry into the Tanner family, becoming Rebecca Donaldson Katsopoulos in what was described as the 4th season. Number 10, an episode that changed so many things. Playing most roles in movies isn't as easy as it may look. Sometimes one just has to play according to the script. Regardless of what is demanded, you either go that way or give yourself some space away from the movie script. The Shape Up episode was filled with drama, fun, and undeniable laughter. It was also riddled with messy content that ought not to be. While Candace Cameron Bure has since maintained her silence regarding the unfair treatment of her character, D.J. S-Body, many have expressed their discontent. During the show's diet episode, it was seen how DJ says things that never make sense about her body and plunges into a diet where she has to starve herself. After the episode, it was hell for her because that entire scene affected her badly. Bure suffered from an eating disorder which impacted her life negatively, and one could tell she had a bad time, yet covered her scars with so many other things. In that episode, DJ was seen complimenting Rebecca, but did she realize that this would ultimately come back to haunt her dearly? Well, that's one of the things you get prepared for before signing the contract to feature in any movie series. Number 11, not so good behaviors no one told you about. Shooting on set can be both humorous and serious, depending on the producer's mood. Full House came with a plethora of moods behind the scenes, and the most revered actors and actresses misbehaved the most. In Jodie Sweetin's biography, Unsweetened, she reveals many secrets that unfolded during the filming of Full House. She once said that she passionately wrote something to describe Candace on one of the sets. And what was that? A curse word, unbelievable, right? This is what happens behind the scenes that no one tells you. However, they have since settled their scores. According to the unauthorized Full House story, a Lifetime movie about the show that didn't get the honor for what it stood for, it was gathered that the adults on the set did put up a not-so-good attitude, even more than the younger ones. Why was that? No one could tell, but it seems like they were having a good time, and the only way to ease stress was in that manner. The movie showed Bob Saget playing the prankster and misbehaving with a mannequin. This wasn't an exaggeration. Saget also confirmed it in one of his autobiographies, Dirty Daddy. The series was fun, but also had some unforgettable experiences that the cast could look back on and say, "What the hell was I thinking?" The movie also showed Stamos and Coolier joining in on the pranks, and guess what? Many more of the cast members weren't left out of it. Number 12, twin episodes made the series interesting and lovely to watch.
Come on. Jess, come on, you're being ridiculous.
It took us forever to grow their hair.
Every series has a catchy scene, and those scenes are made interesting by some cast members. It's no surprise that the twin scenes in Full House shaped the movie's momentum and how viewers ultimately perceived them. Mary-Kate and Ashley began their journey with Full House, featuring exciting performances that also marked the beginning of their careers. The role was played when they were still babies, and so also did Rebecca's twin son. However, they only played the role for 12 episodes and a change was needed. Kelvin Renteria and Daniel Renteria started out playing the twins after Rebecca Donaldson Katsopoulos gave birth during the show's 5th season. After doing what they could do for 12 episodes, they were replaced by Dylan Twomey Wilhoit and Blake Twomey Wilhoit. They did amazingly well, dropping some crazy moves that would later become some of the best moments in the movie. Dylan and Blake made their debut in the 2-part episode Michelle Rides Again. It was the most insane acting skills one would ever imagine, and viewers didn't think any lower. Their charisma gave them an edge, and they continued playing the show for the rest of its run. The twins were a perfect picture of acting, and how they combined it all was a mystery to everyone. They also found their way into 2 episodes of Fuller House. Number 13, a romantic date that turned into a role.
Little thing, it was early. I called her up. I said, "Hey, how you doing? Are you okay?" She's like,
Creativity cannot be underestimated when it comes to shooting a series, and if you put the best scenes together, they are all proof of creativity. In Full House, there was an undeniable chemistry between 2 cast members, and to be on the safe side, they deserved it. John Stamos and Lori Loughlin's chemistry was more than what many had known. It was how they managed to keep it on a professional level that attracted fans to their personas. Fans couldn't take their eyes off the prospective couple, and during the filming of the show, many propagated rumors that they were an actual couple in real life. But little did they know that the closeness wasn't love at first sight. The duo had gone on a date to Disneyland years before the series Full House aired. The duo had always complimented each other, and even though they never verbalized it, they weren't far from having something serious. They had a good relationship to the point that when Loughlin found herself in a scandal, Stamos still had something good to say about her. He stated that he considered Loughlin to be the one that got away, and wistfully spoke about what could have been if their timing had been right. Despite the upheavals, they continued to express their love for each other. Number 14, a continuation of the series.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
What's your name?
Cassidy, what's yours?
Cassidy.
Usually, not every producer is entrusted with continuing a particular series, especially if it has become a success. After Full House became a sensation, Franklin was placed in a hot seat, and certain questions were brought to his attention. In a Q&A with BuzzFeed, he did suggest a probability, but not in a serious manner. Little did he know he was setting himself up for a trap that might hurt him badly. The interviewer asked the cast if they thought they would come back for a sequel series, such as Fuller House. The question surprised them, as they expressed their total surprise at the turn of events. Then Franklin gave a perfect response, saying the characters were grateful but never dreamed they would get to return to playing the characters that made them famous. On the other hand, the show's creator said there was something particular about it that he knew all along. A possible reunion cannot be ruled out, as we keep our minds open. You never know, it might be called something else. This isn't surprising considering the success of Full House. If the first storyline could hit a major milestone, then why wouldn't this? All they need to do is pull a few strings, and the next day, the cameras are rolling. Nevertheless, not many directors can match Franklin's creativity, even in these modern times. Number 15, soundstage shared movies. No show gets to hold onto a soundstage forever. Even the biggest shows in history sometimes share soundstages with shows that are in production or those that will come later. Do you know that there is a type of soundstage that can fulfill its intended function? Guess what? Full House made the right choice. For Full House, it was made on a soundstage with a cool heritage, the greatest of all. Amazingly, the groundbreaking 1970s Wonder Woman was also filmed there. A perfect job was done there, and one would think that it would have been the last show or movie on the soundstage. Not long after Full House was held on that soundstage, Friends would take over from Full House shortly after the curtain of the show was wrapped in the mid-1990s. Friends took over the stage and filmed seasons 2 through 10 of Full House on the Full House soundstage. Full House was still on the air during Friends' first season. Nothing was short of perfection in it. Everything was the best as it should be. Stamos, the famous Full House star, would later go on to guest in an episode of Friends called The One with the Donor. This is to let you know that many of the TV series that dominated the airwaves in the past and continue to do so today may have shared the same soundstage, and you wouldn't know. Well, this may be a secret that most producers are not willing to reveal. Number 16, the couch connection.
Sitting on my couch. I wanted to thank you in person for calling me yesterday.
One thing stood out in Full House and that you can't take away from the series. It was something that everyone looked forward to, and even fans were not oblivious to this fact. Most fans sought signs of the original show, Full House, in the sequel series, which appealed to their tastes and attention. Fans waited patiently to see if their desired elements would be added in the much-anticipated sequel, and finally their guess was as good as they thought. When the much-anticipated sequel show premiered, fans freaked out of the blue and were struck with awe and wonder at the same time. The blue and white couch in the main living room had not changed. It holds a great deal of significance for the family, not just to them, but also to the fans who have connected deeply with the show. The couch didn't change a bit. It was the same chair with the same color representation. As many of the show's shenanigans played out in the main room of the home where the family gathered, that blue and white sofa has been a fixture for most fans' favorite episodes. This chair is connected with the fans because it's the center stage where all family members quarrel, make up after arguments, plan big weddings, and do other phenomenal things that matter to them. This wasn't some gibberish. The chair meant a great deal, and it truly held immense value for the family. Number 17, Kimmy Gibbler is the real deal.
And just said, thank you for this character, because
to be honest, most actors who grace our TV screens are multi-talented, and only if they told you would you know how much of a genius they are in other fields. Did you know that aside from her unicycling skills, she is also dubbed a marathon runner? Contrary to what was purported by fans, she is way more different from what we used to know, as many identified her as a quiet and non-athletic kid. Quite understandable if they did that from the eyes of Kimmy Gibbler, but not from the perspective of Andrea Barber. Ever since she took the role in the Full House series, she has metamorphosed into a different creature, you may want to say. Even when she took a role in Full House, she had long been a marathon runner but hid it under the wings of the series. Unlike her colleagues who have no business in sports, Barber has completed an incredible 26 half marathons and 3 full marathons. This is a feat that not many could attain, even in the sports world. But the one and only Kimmy Gibbler of Full House did it without reserve. One time, she even completed 2.5 marathons in one day, taking a break in between. Fans couldn't control how they reacted to this. They were thrown off balance, and from that moment held her in high esteem. Again, not only did she accomplish an extraordinary feat, but she also took some of her Full House cast members along, and they completed a half marathon together. Number 18, talent runs through the veins of Tanner.
Cameron, yes. And she's being honored for a very special thing. What's it like with Candace? I mean, she's so charitable.
To a great degree, every cast member in the Full House series is built on talent. When you thought you had seen it all, then comes a chunk of talent doing their best, even behind the scenes. Before the series became a reality, the producers studied the real-life talents and interests of the actors to place them in the most suitable roles. And when they got the gears rolling, it worked perfectly. For example, one of Jodie Sweetin's primary passions off the set was dancing. She did so perfectly, as this had become a lifestyle that she had garnered over the years. Growing up, she had enrolled in dance classes even before the show aired, to the point that one of her real-life dance teachers guest starred on the show. Her role on the show was easy because she had gained momentum over time. One of the episodes that showcased the talents of most of the cast members was the telethon episode from the third season called Our Very First Telethon. It was one of the best episodes as the cast members showcased the diverse talents they possessed. Also, Andrea Barber was a unicyclist before the show aired. She had taken lessons previously, and when that episode came, she rode a unicycle. Sweeten delivered a unique dance performance to Love Shack, while Candace Cameron sang a song that resonated with viewers, and she was pleased with her talent. The Olsen twins were also left out of the bargain. Sometimes their artwork was showcased in the show and was mostly displayed on the fridge. Number 19, a facade of the TGIF extended universe. Did you know that other cast members from other shows occasionally appeared on Full House? Oh well, you wouldn't know, but just to give you a hint, it happened at times. There is a special episode in Full House that is uniquely special in that it featured a handful of these stars doing their thing. The episode features a character from another show in the TGIF lineup. It happened when Stephanie was having a bad day because she was ridiculed by students for wearing glasses. Then came Steve Urkel, who brought her back to life again. Urkel, a popular character from the hit sitcom Family Matters, played by Jaleel White, appeared in the Full House episode Stephanie Gets Framed. In that brief appearance, he observes her and gives her some lectures on how to appreciate the positive aspects of herself. That was not the only time other actors from other shows appeared in Full House. Michelle also appeared in Hanging with Mr. Cooper, known as Hanging with Michelle. Number 20, the Danny aspect that many didn't know.
Oh, honey, it's going to be just like having a slumber party.
Yeah, except there's only one guest.
Sometimes one can become so hooked on a TV series that it's hard to differentiate the stars properly. Danny Tanner during the show was more than phenomenal, as he delivered a timely piece with his great dad talks, and many were truly impressed, even considering him the villain in the series. Danny delivers the very first line in the very first show, the debut episode that aired on September 22, 1987. However, did you know that Bob Saget was never part of the original pilot's plan for the show? He wasn't there. Someone else had done it perfectly. So who was it then? Well, just in case you're eager to know, it was John Posey who delivered the very first line on set as Danny. Unbelievable, right? Posey had initially done it, but was replaced for a petty reason. He was outrightly dismissed when the show changed hands and ABC picked it up. He was removed from that role for reasons best known to them, and then Saget had to step in. It's possible to still find versions of this unaired pilot, even after many years, including those that highlight the subtle differences Bob and John brought to the performance. Bob did a great job, but many think it would have been better off if Posey's performance had made the final cut. What else can one say? Every role was meant to be acted out perfectly, and if the producers thought it was necessary to cast him in that role, then we don't need to question them. The series Full House did a wonderful job. From the cast members to the producers and directors, everyone played their role very well. And this is why, even after many years, it still sounds fresh like it was yesterday. Many have suggested that the show come back again. However, even if it does, things can never remain the same again, not at all. Which of these facts blew your mind? And why did you fall in love with it almost immediately? Please let us know in the comments, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons, as there are lots of amazing videos waiting for you.